Here we go.
Hunt Companion.
That's it. That's how we figured we were going to start this. We're like, should we do something different? And we're back.
Hunt Companion.
Hunt Companion.
That's my intro.
Yeah. So we kind of did some of these in the past, but we're going to do this more consistently now. So consistently. So this is number one.
Hunt Companion.
Number one.
We have to change his vocabulary past that.
That's all it is from here on out.
Yeah.
Hunt Companion.
So if you're listening to this, what do we say, Nick? It's September 21st?
Yeah, should be Sunday.
Okay. So this is like the real time catch up with Jared and I, basically.
Current events.
Yep. So Hunt Companion.
Hunt Companion
is going to basically be Jared and I kind of recapping our week and the week kind of moving forward for our hunting strategy, what we've experienced, what we've been seeing, if we shot anything, and then talk about strategy even depending on the time of the year. So this should be as close to real time as possible. If you're hearing this on Sunday the 21st, it's covering that week, in this case, leading up to the Ohio opener, which is on Saturday the 27th or 28th? 28th. 28th. Saturday the 28th.
Mm-hmm.
So that's it. That's the Hunt Companion. Short and sweet, 15 to 30 minutes probably in most cases.
See where it lands here. But I guess it's just as much for us as it is, for you guys listening. So because a lot of times with the podcast, it's like, we try to prioritize guests and they really have no, when it's just you and I, it's a wandering, whatever. So we're going to try to do not a template necessarily, but hey, weather, rut phase, where are we at? What have the hunts been here? This is just kind of a real-time Hunt Companion.
Hunt Companion. Yeah, and you should see, if we time these things right, things that we talk about in this video will be in an upcoming field episode that you'll see. In this case, we're going to talk a lot about the week leading up to Ohio's opener. And obviously, at some point, whether it's the opener or the few days after, you'll see hunts from Jared and I here in the next week or so.
Yeah. And if you guys want to keep track of these, we're going to drop these, Sundays?
Sunday nights.
Sunday evenings at 6?
At 6,
Is that what we're doing? Okay.
Yep. Sunday evenings at 6 every week.
There you go.
Through January, give or take.
Yeah. You guys got some hunter coming at you here.
Yeah.
Coming up. So Nick's been busting his butt here. Did you say I gave some love in the comments there the other day? They're like, oh, we get this, and this. I was like, thank Nick.
Yeah, thank Nick.
Thank Nick. So you guys will have, for the foreseeable future, 2 podcasts, Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Mm-hmm. Hunt
Companions on Sundays, and a lifestyle piece, which is like you saw the Nodak film and the, I think you can call it a film, but
Iowa.
Those will drop on Friday nights here. So at least 4 coming at you, and then obviously we're on social and stuff throughout there on stories and stuff. So
yeah, and if you're
that's the plan.
Listen to this on Sunday. Go back a few days. Should have dropped my Kentucky opening weekend video. So that'll be the last field video that you see.
Cool.
And here we go.
Hunt Companion.
Hunt Companion. So, first off, I think we were just kind of going back and forth. No offense to any weathermen out there. Sometimes we hate you. They are projecting.
They're not men. They're just algorithms. They're not women either.
Yeah. He, them, she.
Them,
there?
she's. It's Shiites.
Shiites?
Shiites. It's an algorithm. The only one I'm checking is Weather Underground.
Mm-hmm. Which I do too. I also hate that.
It's not that bad.
I don't understand how they're all so different. Like if I go to Weather Underground, then I look at like whatever National Weather Service or Pulse. Like everybody's different. Like,
are they?
Yeah, they are. I'm like, well, even this morning,
Dad likes. It's not Raindrops. That's the one you've been using, right?
Raindrops is just the measurables in the past.
Cloudy
weather bug.
Cloudy skies.
I like AccuWeather.
AccuWeather.
Yeah.
AccuWeather. That's an app.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice.
Cloudy skies. That's the one he likes.
With a chance of meatballs.
Dark skies. I think it's called Dark Skies.
Interesting. Yeah,
and it's cool. It gives you more of an hour. But I don't know. I'm comfortable with the.
Weather Underground's kind of been my go-to.
I can read it.
Several years.
I can read it. It's good, but when they don't know. Like you learn to read the algorithm, and you're like, okay, they don't know.
Well, we've just had 2 tropical cyclone storms, whatever you want to call them, come through. Both of which, like preemptively, were like saturation. We're gonna all get rain, and then
I thought for sure we were gonna get that one.
Nothing. Trash.
But I also knew they didn't know.
They had no idea
because it was just a hurricane. Got thrown into the mix down south there, and then some people got it. We got a little mix here yesterday, but not much. And it just happened to miss us, which is crazy because a couple days ago
it was like heavy. Heavy precip was predicted.
Well, that, and I went out and put all that rye and
Mm-hmm.
rye down and stuff, and we just missed us.
Yep, turkeys are eating it now.
Couldn't believe it.
So, as of right now, weather is predicting a pretty wet week from starting on Monday or Tuesday, and going up until, you just said it looked like it trickles off on Friday. So Saturday's the first like sunshiny day, which is opening day of Ohio.
Yeah. So what I'm seeing is it's been dry for at least a week and a half here, because I put rye and nitrogen down like I think about a week and a half ago, and it did rain a little bit right after that. A week passed with no more rain, and it obviously sucked that first bit up immediately. So I went back out a couple days ago and put more rye down, and then this last one missed us. And so now it's like you have some sort of like prolonged low pressure front for the week leading up to the opener. So like you said, I think it starts like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday-ish is like there's some rain in there, half inch one day, quarter inch another day, which is great. We need that. And that's going to like slowly trickle off right into the opener.
Yep.
So
I think like we were talking, I guess first off, assume you are, because I am seeing a pile of acorns.
red oaks.
Yep, red oaks.
Yeah, not so much on the whites.
But red oaks like raining down at this point.
Pouring.
Yep. Beans, we just were talking, you're seeing a lot of your beans turning?
Kind of all over the place. I have some that are completely like ready for harvest, like leafless, like some of the farmers' beans. I have some that are still holding some green leaves on the southern sides of the field. So like if you know that, your sun rides in the south side of the sky, and so it gets the least amount of sunshine, and so that's where your green leaves are going to be latest into the season. And so I have a little bit there to play with, and then my beans that I planted like a few weeks after the farmers did are still extremely green. Those are
Real world,
whatever Higgins beans. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And they're crushing those. I got a bunch of pictures of deer. Dude, my freaking beans look fantastic.
Yeah.
Like 3.5 foot, like putting all the pods on.
Kind of interesting on that, because mine do too in Kentucky, at least when I was there a couple of weeks ago. And I mean, people have heard us in the pod. Like I went through a massive drought in Kentucky, but then I started catching a couple timely rains, and it's like, I don't know. As soon as they caught those timely rains, they blew up.
It's all about timely rains, dude. I know people that planted their brassicas like a few days, a week later than I did, that don't have any food plots.
Have anything.
My brassicas look great because I've nursed them along. I caught every timely rain, and like before like I said, on his most recent ones, I went out and did rye.
Did rye in them.
And so I've got brassicas.
Yep, they're hanging out. So yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, a lot of people, in fact, I went to a co-op the other day and they were out of rye because all the farmers had like bought it.
Yep. I was nervous about that, but I haven't had that issue yet.
So I did drill in Kentucky last week. Yeah, when I was there hunting last week. And we haven't had really any rain since then, but they caught a rain right before I got there, and everything germinated. Like I can see my rows coming up really nice. So yeah, we're like at the tail end of the, food plot. Rye is the saving grace here. So that's, we're kind of wrapping that season. We're kind of at the very tail end of what we're gonna have here for food plots and stuff. A couple last minute like water hole projects and stuff. Those are paying off big. I put that toad in the other day to save that and they're crushing it right out of that toad. I thought they might be afraid of it or something. No, just right to it. And so, like you said, looking at the bean field, I think it's a big deal. Like if you have ag in your area, if there's any remaining green beans, they're going to be between there or some sort of an acorn pattern, most likely. And so, like you said, the reds are dropping, the whites not so much. So that's probably in conjunction with this, prolonged low pressure front that we're watching here before a season. That's what I love. I love, but it's also stressful. Like I told you, I was like, couldn't even sleep last night because I was like, at that picture that buck showed up on that hub scrape, and I'm like, okay, there's just so much that's changing right now, and it's just like, just take what you saw 2 weeks ago even, and just pretty much throw it out the window. Yeah,
pretty much disregard it completely. And so like every opening day, I feel like, okay, clicker starts now, and I need to dive into like what basis of information I had from this year, from last year, and go educate myself as quickly as possible with recent sign, and that's where I'll be hunting opening day.
Yeah, I mean, I think in the last 2 weeks, most deer have shed out of velvet. They
I don't
have
have any velvet bucks.
They have
left.
spread out now, starting to shift into fall ranges.
Yep. Couple newbies popping up here and there.
Yep. So I mean, it is. It's kind of a bit of a reset. I
We're
mean,
moving, seeing true shifts too. I sent you that one the other day that
how
moved.
far was that move?
Further than I expect to see this time of year, but it was at least a mile.
Yep. And
Yeah.
and he's moved into a range that historically you've seen him in the fall.
Not that I know of.
Oh, really?
Well, it could be, like we were talking this morning with a deer's 3 or 4. I don't know if I know him from last year, but I know who he is from earlier this summer, and I know he moved at least 3/4 of a mile to a mile.
Which would make sense because there's another pretty dominant buck in that other area to get him kicked out of. So yeah, I mean that shift I think is for sure happening. Which in that same breath is you're going to start, if you haven't already, you're going to start seeing a bunch of scrapes popping up. Because they've got to kind of establish that hierarchy at this point.
I'm telling you right now. I mean, I'll call it whatever a week in advance here. Some bucks will die on scrapes opening day. Yeah, after that prolonged, low pressure system, there's some precipitation that's going to come with that. A lot of guys think like you don't hunt scrapes until mid to end of October. It's
I love them right now.
It's with a rain front. Yeah, early October is hard to beat, early to mid. So whether I'm on one or I'm pushing back in like towards a bedding area, which I probably will do around here. I'll have some of our guys on scrapes for sure.
Yeah. No, I think that's a great, in fact, I put a camera on the mountain on public 2 days ago, and the next morning right at daylight, I had a mature buck come in and check it. So, I mean, it's, they're killable on scrapes right now. In fact, sometimes I think that at this time of year, they're as killable on scrapes during daylight as they are towards like a mid-October type cold front. Because they're just still shaking out that hierarchy and that communication so much right now. They're frequenting them a lot.
I think it has everything to do with weather. I think that's the main driving force. I think mid-October is their peak desire to freshen those up. Their whatever their interest in them or their viewpoint, it seems to change. Like, just throughout the month of October. Like, if I had to pick a day that I felt like they were the most killable on a scrape, and it's completely dependent on a weather event. Sure. But I would say like the 12th
to the 15th was what I was going to say of October.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. To me, I've seen. Well, so I think
because later than that, they're maybe a little distracted. Like they're making a loop at that point, and they are starting to seek out does. Like, but on the 12th to the 15th, like they're just not necessarily there yet. They're going to that scrape. It's on their mind while they're laying in their bed. If you can combine that like with a food, like you get next to one of those red oaks that's dropping, like near a bedding area, it's like if the buck's there, like he's gonna hit it.
Well, if you divide it up, like even look at this opening day coming up. Most of these bucks do not. They're starting to expand it, but their home range is still pretty tight, right? Every week that we start to get into October, that home range is growing and growing and growing. So they've got more ground to cover, which means they have more scrapes to cover. If you look at this opening weekend in Ohio coming up, I would say most of those deer have a fairly concentrated home range. They're not out legging long distances yet, unless they're long line into food sources or something weird like that. But that's what makes them killable on these scrapes, probably on opening day and in Ohio, or even as you start to look at all the October 1st openers that come in, Illinois, Iowa. As you get towards that mid-October period, you talk about that 12th to the 15th, I think that they cover more ground. I think that's more of a mentality of weather event and the need to refresh those. Right now, it's kind of convenient. They're just in the area where these scrapes are. All of these bucks are breaking up from a bachelor group side, but they're still all fairly close. That's the hierarchy communication with these scrapes happening right now, whereas it starts to migrate to more of a breeding scrape activity as we get to that mid-October time period.
Yeah.
So, I think that's a big one.
There's a lot of fact-finding that needs to happen right now. I mean, there's known scrapes. Like I have a few right now that I feel like opening day could be slammers. We could kill bucks off of them. But there's also some areas with bucks in them I'm interested that I don't have that community scrape like as pinpointed.
Sure.
That buck last night, for instance, like he showed up there at like 8:40, and it's possible he would hit that in daylight, but based on where I saw him this summer and how the food sources have died off between here and there, and what's in the direction that he came from, I narrowed it down to like 2 spots, and I don't know exactly what they look like. So I very likely the day or two leading up to season, or even getting into the first part of season, am going to go penetrate those areas.
To start pushing closer.
I don't know how.
You don't think that spot you got him in, that hub, because I mean that is a clear thermal hub there. You don't think that is the community scrape that they're coming to?
Could be.
Seems like it.
Could be. And if I got a picture of him there in daylight, I'd consider hunting him there.
Yeah, I think to your point, like last night, he was up on his feet for probably an hour before he got to that spot. So you got to push, even if that is the destination hub scrape.
I just want to get close, man. Like the strategy needs to be like, whether it's a food source or a scrape, or some focal point that you've either got a picture or know that he's getting to. You need to walk it back.
Yep.
So from that, just based on that picture last night, which is the only piece of information that I have recently, I'm gonna walk it back to one of those areas I think he's bedding in, because he wasn't there in daylight. And
you knew the general direction he came from.
I knew where he came from.
You know what the wind was.
I'm just gonna walk it back.
Was it east wind yesterday too?
Yeah.
We've had a big streak here of east winds, which hopefully are kicked out the door by the time season comes.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. I guess we'll take what we're dealt, but yeah, you got to do that. So like, I might kick that buck out of there. You know, I don't know. So like. That's where it gets interesting. That's where like hunting instinct comes in. Is like,
yeah, how close?
I want to think that like, hey, I'm gonna go in there delicately, and with a lone wolf on my back, and get on the sign and hang and hunt and kill him right there. But I don't know. That may not happen. I may not run into anything, and I may just like kind of get frustrated and start just covering ground to find. I'm like, oh, okay, here, and I might kick him out in the process. And okay, so I have to back
He's
out.
in a very fragmented landscape. So even though those seem like the obvious places, he could be cutting a field, or he could be doing something that we don't know.
I'm less and less worried about pushing deer out of areas.
Yeah.
I'm going to go in there and learn them one time. And I think one of the best characteristics of a good hunter is to understand what you see in real time and make a calculated decision to capitalize on it. And so whether that means reading a sign, hanging a stand, and killing in the same breath, or pushing too far, which is not ideal, but then you push them out, and then and you have that information, and then make the setup based on that. That's your classic, you're bump and dump basically.
Well, we as opening day approaches, and I know some we'll talk about later. Obviously, North Dakota Open, Kentucky Open, Missouri Open, Wisconsin Open. I think Minnesota's open now. I've had quite a few people. You and I've had some mutual come back to us on it. Is basically, as these opening day mindsets start to come into play, they're like, well, I've got this deer, and I think he's killable, but I'm kind of waiting for this deer to do something, or I'm waiting for this deer to show up. And, the longer I go into these seasons like this, and I've basically done it and failed, is like, man, if that deer is the one that trips your trigger, like, even though he may not be the one you thought you were waiting for, kill the killable deer. Like, the goal of this thing is to be hunting a killable deer. You can't hunt something that's not killable, like that you're just spinning your wheels. You're either going to push him out, he's never going to show up, whatever might happen. So I think as you're sitting there processing, and it's hard to say that when you got one tag in a state like Ohio or Pennsylvania or Kentucky, but the reality is that if you've got a buck that is meeting the goal that you're looking for and he is killable, don't pass and wait for something that you might not even know exists yet. Hunt the killable deer.
Yeah. Well, just in generally, like, I think it's good advice to just don't make it all about the deer. Like, make it about the season. Like, there's lots of deer that I would shoot on our farm. There's the highest scoring deer, and there's not the highest scoring deer. And
Which, by the way, have you seen the highest scoring deer on your farm recently?
Not real recently, no.
It's making that shift, probably.
Yeah, probably. And that's okay. Like,
yep.
I don't know. I don't get
but I think
too caught up in the inches.
On your farm, I mean, you've got other options in Ohio, but specifically on your farm, because that's where you're probably going to hunt opening day, is your farm?
Yeah.
Well,
mine or one of the satellites.
It gets increasingly harder on your farm, your home farm, as the season progresses.
It has in the past. I don't think it does anymore.
You think it's broken that cycle now?
Because of, food.
Because of food.
Food and increased cover over time. Yeah, it's gotten better.
Because for a while there, it was like, man, you had to go balls to the wall opening weekend because it almost decreased pretty significantly not long after that.
Yeah, and it's pressure related too. We've gotten better at hunting the property smarter. So between that and the habitat improvements and all the food that we have there, it has improved.
Yeah,
it has improved for sure. So because last December, January, like we were covered.
You had a ton of deer.
We had a lot of deer, so that gives me some breathing room.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't feel like there is a little bit of anticipation for opening day here, but I
don't feel the pressure as much.
No, and I'm just choosing not to because I just don't want to. I'm excited about it, but I'm
Yep.
I'm gonna just take what gets thrown at us and roll with the punches.
Well, so Saturday opens up Ohio. A lot of seasons, like we just mentioned, Illinois, Iowa.
Is Illinois Saturday? I think it's the first.
It's October 1st.
Regardless,
Yep.
which is a few days later.
Yep, Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yep. So Tuesday opens up Illinois. Tuesday opens up Iowa. I'm sure there's several others that are October 1st. Following week is Pennsylvania. So, yeah, this kind of the floodgates now open. It's hard to believe. We talk about it every year, but September's kind of blown by us here pretty quickly.
Always does.
So, if anything, this is a good reminder to sit and suck it in and enjoy the upcoming weekend. And October will be here before you know it. When you blink. So
Margie texted me the other day. She's like, "What? When are your trips in November?" I was like,
the month.
Yes. I'm out.
I already got pretty dicey on mine because so I've got cross country and soccer on opening day for Ohio on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
So she's like, "Well, what's your plans?" I was like, "Well, I'll probably just hang out Saturday. I don't want to be rushed, but Sunday morning I'm going to go to the Ohio farm and I'll probably do like a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday like I did with Kentucky." She's like, "Sure." She's like, "But like we got stuff on Monday." I'm like, "What?" She's like, "Our anniversary." I'm like, "Fuck."
I was trying to surprise you.
Surprise! Surprise! You get a day to yourself. Like, isn't that what you wanted?
Yeah. Well, we're going. Some of these trips are going to have to start developing here. I know we have aspirations of getting to the Midwest, and we've got some scheduled out, which helps. But whatever falls around that is to be determined.
Well, as this thing really starts to heat up, and
are you thinking in Illinois like mid-October at this point?
We need to have something that we want to hunt. I don't know if we really do right now.
I might shoot that one that showed out there the other day at North. I would, not the 8, but the 9.
The one that was down on death row.
Well, I think he was there also, but we didn't get a picture of him.
The other one. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's a mature deer for sure.
I got 2 tags.
Do you think that one on death row was mature or 4?
Probably 4.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Well, I mean, right now that's no consistency though.
For the record, 4 is mature to a lot.
Sure.
I very well might shoot a 4-year-old on our Ohio farm this year.
I would almost guarantee that I will if I don't have one of these 5-year-olds coming in. But I'm gonna hunt Ohio. It just might be in the week after opening weekend. So
cool.
But yeah, man, time to get after it. We appreciate you guys listening to this first episode of
Hunt Companion.
Perfect, right? It's a great name.
Hunt Companion.
By the time you listen to it, it's trademarked. Don't try to take it. And we're going to keep these coming every Sunday night. And if you guys have any questions, comment on these. If there's certain things you'd love to hear on these Hunt Companions, like we'll read those comments and we'll try to tie them into the next one. And we'll catch you next Sunday night.
Hunt Companion.
Take me